This is Who's Kidding Who, Part 2. Updating yourself for the woman you are now. Last time, we talked about noticing old scripts, the roles we were trained to play. And Hollywood loves to give us roles to act out, like Blanche on The Golden Girls, 53, and living in a home with retirees. Or the ladies on The Golden Bachelor, 60 plus, pickled and preserved. If you like that look, then that's what you should do. We're not making any rules here. We're just trying to uncover what real women in everyday life are doing about aging, staying creative, enjoying their lives, and not buying messages from the outside world, hook, line, and sinker. And those roles that we were trained were not necessarily something we even picked. Maybe they didn't fit then, and they certainly don't fit now. But just noticing and being aware is really just the beginning. The real shift happens when you actually start updating yourself to be in line with who you are now. The fact is, as we get older, we realize life is seasonal. Your purpose changes, and nobody tells you that. It's like you got the purpose of being a mom, a wife, a caretaker, the reliable one, even the glue. That's a lot. And we take it on gradually over time, and pretty soon we're like that frog in the boiling water. Things are a tempest around us, and we don't know where we fit. When life does shift, and it does, you realize the kids are grown. The job is over. Your parents may be gone, and your body has changed. And suddenly, you are standing there with a script that doesn't fit you anymore. Now you need to figure out exactly what part of you is outdated. So hi, I'm Star, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm 74, I'm an artist, and I paint and talk about exactly what it's like to be creative in later life, and how that really can be a thing that sees us through. And even though I do paint and draw, it's not entirely about that. It's how we live day to day. And if you'd like to explore that with me, I hope you'll stay for a while. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for being here. Get comfy. I'm so glad you're here. And you know I will paint and chat. So let's get busy on the painting today. You'll recognize the orchid book, and that's what we're going to do. As usual, I start by wetting the paper so I can brush in a general background. I like to have that covered to contrast the flower against. I'm guessing these flowers don't want to blend in any more than we do. But back to the topic at hand, updating ourselves for who we are now. Here's where updating myself starts for me. I try to pay attention to the parts of my life that feel tight. Like an uncomfortable outfit, that one you can't wait to get home and peel off and get your jammies on. When I have that feeling, I know I'm still acting out a version of myself that doesn't fit anymore. Maybe I say yes too quickly. You ever do that? Maybe I want to apologize for taking up space. I have done that a lot. Have you? Maybe I'm locked into the good girl role, even at 74. So I have to ask myself, is this really who I am now? Or is it who I was trained to be? I give it some thought, and then I try to be honest about what actually matters to me now. not 20 years ago, not in the thick of raising kids or building a marriage or a career. Now, what do I want my days to feel like? Where do I want to spend my energy? That energy is more limited now, and I do get to decide how to use it. So, what are my values today? What are my deal breakers? Dealing with these questions is how you carve out a life that fits. Updating yourself is not about reinventing your whole life. It's about adjusting the small things so they line up with who you've become. Maybe the woman you are now needs more quiet, or more color, or boundaries, or play. Maybe she needs to stop doing things out of guilt, or tradition, or habit. And maybe she needs to start doing things that make her feel alive again. Now, all this deep thinking has to fit into real life, and I have a task to do here, so come with me. Well, at 74, I can talk about identity all day, but I still need lunch. This is why freezer meals and leftovers exist. When I have meals ready, I can paint for hours. Updating yourself is important. I'm shaking my knife at you. But so is a nice warm lunch. Updating who you are now involves two things: unlearning and letting go. Now, I tend to think that unlearning is harder than learning. It's an undo, and old habits and ingrained patterns are hard to root out. You have to peel off layers. Layers like should, ought to, be nice, don't make waves, don't take up space. It takes guts to change those things. It's one of the most freeing things you will ever do. As far as letting go, for me, it involves a role that I need to let go of, and that is being the fixer. I have been that person my entire life. The one who steps in without being asked oftentimes to smooth things over, solve problems, and anticipate something before it even happens. But when you think about it, fixing comes with some amount of control and over-involvement. And at this stage in life, I really don't want to carry that anymore. I want to be supportive, but not entangled. Caring, but not a vital part of everybody's whatever. Available, yes. On call, no. I want my time, the time that I feel so keenly now, to be spent on things that are important to me. My paintings, my flowers, my spiritual life. These are the things that bring me joy. So let's stick this baby in the oven, and we'll be back later to add some cheese. Once you clear out all the old scripts, then you get to ask the most important question. Who do I want to be now? Not who I was, not who I was needed to be, and not who I was praised for being. I want to be whatever I'm becoming, even at this stage in life. Maybe I should say especially at this stage in life. And believe me, no matter how old you are, if you still have capacity about you and you're not in a memory care unit, you are still growing and becoming. Just think, women, we still have a chance to blossom. It's not over. It doesn't stop until you actually lose your ability to live freely. And we are not there yet. Keep in mind that updating yourself means updating your boundaries. Maybe you don't answer the phone after 8 anymore. Maybe you don't volunteer for every crisis. Maybe you don't explain yourself to people who aren't listening anyway. And maybe, just maybe, you don't tolerate disrespect, even from family. Boundaries are not walls. They're doors you get to open and close. I always think about the first time my mother-in-law babysat my infant twins. I was so excited to go out for an art get-together by myself for an evening. But when I came home, she had arranged my living room. Literally moved all the furniture. She meant well. She did clean while she was at it, but she was still in running the household mode. The part she forgot was that it wasn't her house. But that's what happens when we don't update our roles. We keep performing a job that isn't ours anymore. We need to be aware of things like that and correct them. And not by backtracking to a happy time in the past or hanging on for dear life now. We do it by becoming who we're meant to be. And that version of you, the one that you're growing into, she's wiser. She's steadier, braver, and she's done apologizing for taking up space. So I decided in the last minute to add some stems here. They kind of look like they were floating. So we got to give them a little something to hang on to. Okay, and then, drum roll, I do love taking off the tape, and we do have the other one under there, so let's see what happens with the reveal. Just always a little thrilled with this sharp edge, and I can't believe that I just got back to doing this. I used to do it many, many years ago, and I'm so enjoying it now. It really frames them in the book, even though it takes a little paper with it, but that's okay. Okay, are you dry enough? Sometimes I use printed R's and sometimes I have cursive R's. Oh well. Either is fine. So here we are for today's. And like I said, these backgrounds have to be dark or light for the flowers to show up. And in this case, flowers are so light, it has to be a dark background or you wouldn't see them. And I believe this is a Phalaenopsis, which is the basic grocery store orchid. And I love them all. There's nothing plain about any of them to me. So, another one for the book. Okay, take a breath. A big one. This is big work, but it's beautiful work. And you are not losing yourself. You're meeting yourself. And that's exciting. Of course, none of us do this perfectly, but we don't have to do it alone. We can encourage each other, laugh with each other, and say, hey, you're allowed to change. But the fact is, I need you here as much as you need this space. Let's see how this turned out. Oh. Very good. We are building a little corner of the internet for women over 60 who can check in with each other and say, yeah, I'm updating myself too. And here's the truth I'm learning. You do not need permission to be yourself. Not anymore, not at this age, not ever again. So we've explored this question a couple of times now. Who is kidding who? We don't stop existing, and others don't get to tell us who we are. Not Hollywood, not corporate America, who wants to sell us a bunch of expensive fountain of youth, Botox and surgery, and not society's rules that want women to age quietly in a corner and not be a bother. Forget all that. You are allowed to become someone new for one simple reason. You do not need permission to be yourself. You really don't. One more very important thing to me is my legacy. Because it is time to think about that too. About the impact I want to leave behind. About using my talent to bring other people joy. And I want to be memorable. I want to feel like I mattered. Maybe that's a hard thing for you to say out loud. But you can say it here, because I'm with you. Oh, and that night, my mother-in-law rearranged the furniture while I was gone. I thanked her for babysitting. I kissed her goodbye, and I had it all put back before she got home. God love her. I did love her, and I miss her now. So remember, you're always welcome here. See you next time.